Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of Thucydides, Book 1, the Pentakontaetia. We're up to chapter 116, which continues the story of the revolt of Samos. Athenaioi de hos esthonto, plusantes nausin hexekonte epi samutaismen ek kai deca ton neon uk ekresanto. Let's do that little bit there. So the Athenians, when they perceived all the things that happened above, having sailed with 60 ships to Samos, now we get a nice men and a de. They did not use hekaideca. They did not use 16 of the ships. For, and then we get an explanatory gar here in brackets, entukon gar hymen epikaireas es proskopen ton phoinison neon oikomenai haide epikiu kai lesbu periangelusai boethane. So we get a reason, explanation here for it happened that some had gone off to Caria for a proskopan. This is a spying expedition of the Phoenician ships. Haide, but other ships had gone to Chios and Lesbos, Periangelusai, summoning them boethane to render aid. So summoning perhaps reinforcements here. Tesseraconta denausi kai tessasi Perikles decatu autou strateguntos emake enaumakesan pros tragia tenesoi semio nausi hebdomekonta. But with 40 ships, 40 and 4, so with 44 ships, and we get a genitive absolute, with Perikles, literally himself the 10th man. So Perikles Perikles as general, himself the 10th man. So Perikles and 9 others in command, they fought a sea battle at the island of Tragia, a sea battle with the Samians, with 70 ships of the Samians. So they fought a battle against 70 ships of the Samians at the island of Tragia. Hon esan hoi ekosi stratiotides etukon de hypasai apomiletu pleusai kai enikon athenaion. So of which there were, or 20 of them were stratiotides. This refers to ships carrying soldiers, for they all happened to be sailing from Miletus, and the Athenians prevailed. The Athenians won. Husteron de autoi se boethesan ekton Athenon nees tesseraconta kai kion kai lesbion penti kai ikosi kai apobantes kai kratuntes toi pedzoi epoliokun trisi tekesi ten polin kai ekthalases hama. And afterwards 40 ships from Athens rendered aid, and 25 are from the Chians and Lesbians. And having disembarked and having gotten control, toi pedzo, by means of land army, but means of a land fight, as opposed to a sea battle. They began to besiege the city Trisi with 3 walls, and at the same time by sea. So they've hemmed in the city of Miletus on 3 sides, on the land side, and then at the same time also besieged them by sea. Perikles de labon hexekon tenaos apoton aphomuson oiketo katatakos epikaunu kai karias. Es engelthenton hoti phoenisai nees ep autus pleusin. And Perikles, having taken 60 ships from the ones those that were moored there, from their moorings, having taken 60 ships from their moorings, he went Katatakos quickly to Kaunos and Caria. And we get here a genitive absolute with no subject, and it's used impersonally here, and it's passive. So it having been reported that the Phoenician ships, historic present, are sailing against them. Oiketok gar kai ektes samu pentinaosi ste sagoras kai aloi epitas phoenisas. For Staisagoras and others had come with 5 ships from Samos. Epitas phoenisas, it's to the Phoenicians, but it's in the sense of having gone off to fetch the Phoenicians, had gone after the Phoenicians, so gone off to fetch the Phoenicians. And that's the end of chapter 116 and 117. En tutoi de hoi samioi ex apinaios ekplun poie sammenoi a facto toi stratopedoi epipesontes tas de profulacidas naus di eftheran kai nao macuntes tas ant anagamenas enekisan kaites thalases tas kathiautus ekrates en hemeras peritesaurus kai deca kai esse commissanto kai exe commissanto ha ebulonto. Meanwhile, in Tuto, the Samians ex anaios, this is an adverb, suddenly, having made an ekplun, a sailing out. So the Samians suddenly having sailed out, Epipesontes having attacked, and Epharton is an unfortified stratopedon army camp. So having attacked an unfortified army camp, they destroyed the ships, the Profulacidas. These are the guard ships in front. So they destroyed the guard ships in front, and having fought a sea battle, they prevailed, they defeated tas ant anagomenas. These are the ships which were put out to sea. This is this anago, anti against them. So they defeated the ships that were put out against them, and they took control of the sea, which was Kathiautus, well, on their side, so on their coast, and they did that for around 14 days. So they've managed to break the siege for a period of 14 days. Kai es e commissanto, and they brought in and they brought out, so they imported and exported whatever they wanted. So having broken the siege, though of course during the siege they couldn't get any supplies, and so having done this now for 14 days they were able to get in and out of the city. But Elthontes Perikleos palintais nausi Catacles their son. But Perikles, having come back with his ships, Catacles their son, they were shut in, the genitive absolute here for the first bit. So when Perikles came back again with his ships, they were shut. They were shut up. So the siege continued. They were locked in. Kai ek ton athenon husteron pros ebo thesan tesseraconta men hai meta thucydidu kai hegnonos kai formionos nes ekosi de hai meta tle polemu kai anticleus ek de hiu kai lesbu triaconta. And Husteron afterwards, from Athens, 40 ships came to their aid. So these are reinforcements. So 40 ships. So afterwards, 40 ships came from Athens to reinforce them, and now we get men high, and we get a debt down here. So some of the ships, understand, came with Thucydides. This, of course, is not the historian, this is the general. Thucydides and Hagnon, who was an associate of Pericles, and Phormio, who was the famous admiral. And 20 of them came with Tlepolemus and Anticles. And Triaconta, and 30 from Chios and Lesbos. Kai enaukian men tina brachaean epoiesan tahoi Samioi. So the Samians made a sea battle, a certain sea battle which was Brachaea. Well, it was short, so perhaps feeble here. So they made a rather weak sea battle. Adunatoi de ontes antiscain ex poliocerthesan enautoi meni, and being unable to resist them, to fight back, they were taken by the siege. You have that X here, emphasizing it. So they succumbed to the siege. They were taken by siege in the 9th month. Kai pros koresan homologiae. So they came to terms by an agreement. Tekos de Cathelontes, kai Homerus dontes, kai Nas paradontes, kai Cremata ta analothenta, taxaminoi catachronus apodunai. Exebesan de kai busantioi hospe kai proteron hube kaoi enai. Now we get these participles here, which are outlining all the things that they did by this agreement. So they came to an agreement, namely, having pulled down from Cathario, having pulled down the wall, and having given hostages. So they were to pull down the wall, having given hostages, handed over their ships, and having arranged Apodunai to give back the money, the analothenta, this is from Analisco, to spend the money which had been spent, and to give it catachronus. Well, perhaps something like by instalments at each appointed time. So having arranged to give back the money that the Athenians had spent, of course, this is the money spent by the Athenians, in instalments, and that they were the conditions of this agreement. And the Byzantines came to agreement, as also before, to be subject. So the Byzantines agreed that they would, as before, be subject, understand, to Athens. And that's the end of chapter 117.